This is going to be a long video. It may be the longest video I've ever done on the channel. The building that I'm going to showcase is so massive and has so much history, I don't know how I can even fit it into one video, and that doesn't even include all of the interactive components we have built into the building itself. I'm pretty excited about this one. It's been 3 years in the making. Hey everyone, it's Game Fruit Pulp, and welcome back to another Minecraft Building Toronto video. This is my first Building Toronto video since May on the channel, and I'm coming back to everyone's favorite series with a bang. I'm so excited to be sharing with you all today what I would call our greatest achievement on the project to date, the completion of Toronto's Union Station. Before jumping into the station, and boy is there a lot that we are going to jump into, let me just take a quick second to explain what the project is all about for those of you who are new to the channel. The Minecraft Building Toronto project is an ambitious Minecraft project that was started in April of 2017 that aims to create the city of Toronto, Canada on a 1-to-1 scale in Minecraft, including interiors. We build on a public Minecraft Java server for visitors to join and explore so that they can check out the map for themselves. I can't wait to go over this massive build with you all. If you don't know, Union Station is one of the biggest transit hubs in Canada. If you do enjoy the video, be sure to hit that like button to help with the algorithm so that we can continue to get more visitors to the channel. So my plan for this video is to start like we always do, with a showcase of the building along with some history about the building itself. After that, I'm going to showcase all the different interactive things that we have set up at Union, as well as showcase some of the older parts of Union Station that have been finished for a while. Then, I'm going to finish up the video by showcasing the connections from Union Station that still have to be built. There's a ton to go over, so go and grab some popcorn, and let's get started. Toronto's Union Station is located on the south side of Front Street between Bay and York Street and serves as the major railway transportation hub for the City of Toronto. The railway hub serves as the terminus station for several train lines from the Greater Toronto Area, but also for trains from Quebec, British Columbia, and the United States. In 2018, Toronto's Union Station was the second busiest train station in North America, behind only Penn Station in New York City, serving 72.4 million people. And since 2018, GO Transit has seen a rapid expansion, so I imagine this number is actually much higher today than it was in 2018. This station is very, very old, but it is not the first station that was built in the City of Toronto, or even the first station built in the City of Toronto named Union Station. Despite serving over 70 million people a year today, Union Station at the time of its construction, and the stations that came before it, played a much more crucial role than the station does today, a role that likely helped develop Toronto into the city that it is now. The first and second Union Stations actually predate Canada, being built on Front Street in 1858. Those stations would have served as the only way to get in and out of the city, except for horse travel. The third Union Station was constructed in 1873, when Canada was only 6 years old, and sat further west than today's version, between York and Simcoe Streets. The fourth and final Union Station, the one that we are looking at today, has a storied history all of its own. Construction began on the final version of Union Station in 1914 and was completed in 1920. This likely was a much larger timeline than what was originally planned, as the First World War would have made both resources and manpower extremely limited during this time period. Despite construction on the actual buildings of Union Station being completed in 1920, the station did not open until 1927 to allow for the rail decks to be accurately and properly placed within the station. On August 6, 1927, Union Station was opened with a large crowd that included Prince Edward, who later became the King of England and Canada in 1936, Prince George, Lieutenant Governor of Ontario William Donald Ross, Prime Minister of Canada William Lyle Mackenzie King, Prime Minister of the United Kingdom Stanley Baldwin, and the Premier of Ontario George Howard Ferguson. While on a tour of the station, Prince Edward famously joked, "You build your train stations like we build our cathedrals," referring to the Great Hall, which does look like a cathedral in my opinion. Union Station became designated as a National Historic Site in Canada in 1975, and a Heritage Railway Station in 1989. In 1999, Union Station was inducted into the North America Railway Hall of Fame as being significant in the course of railway history. The station is recognized as part of the Union Station Heritage Conservation District under the Ontario Heritage Act enacted by Toronto City Council on July 27, 2006. Union Station was designed by Montreal architecture firm of Ross and McDonald in collaboration with the famous Toronto architect John M. Lyle, who also designed the Royal Alexandra Theatre, which we showcased a few videos ago in this series. The building comprises of 3 connecting box masses facing Front Street West, with the main structure in the middle. Together, the 3 parts measure 752 feet or 229 meters or blocks long, and occupy the entire south side of the block between Bay Street in the east and York Street in the west. The limestone used for the front facade of the station was made of limestone mined in Indiana as well as Queenston. The limestone used for the Colony de Loggia, which faces Front Street, features 22 equally spaced Roman Tuscan columns made from Bedford limestone. Each of those columns is 12 meters high and weighs 75 tons. There's a lot of other information about the actual design of the exterior available, but I don't want to overload the video with that information. So if you do want to learn more about the actual structure and the design features of it, there's a ton available for you to read out there. I just don't want to make the video too long with that kind of information, because not everyone's interested in learning that when they come to these videos. However, one interesting fact that I did find about Union is that it actually housed a gun range on the 7th floor from 1927 until 2008. The range was primarily operated by the Canadian Pacific Railway and Canadian National Railway Police to practice their shooting skills. It eventually was opened up to members of the public, at which point it was known as the Canadian National Recreational Association Handgun Club. The city closed the range in 2008 as a symbolic gesture to its efforts to reduce gun violence. Moving into the Great Hall of Union Station is, in my opinion, the most visually appealing part of the station. It is a structure that has no real comparable in the city. The front entranceway opens to an expansive ticket lobby, informally known as the Great Hall. This part of Union Station runs the entire length of the main section. The entire space is lit with a diffused natural light that comes from the windows refracting light throughout the lobby. Each end of the Great Hall also features a 4-story tall arched window, based on those of Roman baths, which is my personal favorite feature of the Grand Hall and of Union Station in general. The walls of the Great Hall are faced with Zumbro stone from Missouri, and the floors are constructed of Tennessee marble laid in a herringbone pattern. Below the cornice surrounding the Great Hall are carved the names of many Canadian railway destinations, from the East Coast to Vancouver, accessible by the Grand Trunk Railway or Canadian Pacific Railway at the time of the station's construction. These were the 2 railway companies that operated and built the Union Station originally back over almost 100 years ago. Many of the destinations seen in the cornice of the Great Hall are still remaining destinations on Via Rail travel routes today. There are 3 passenger concourses in Union Station, 2 that aim to serve GO Transit passengers and a 3rd serving Via and Amtrak passengers. York and Bay concourses both recently went under extensive renovations that modernized the station and brought many stores to the station. In my opinion, these renovations not only improved the passenger experience, but also made Union a place that you could go as a destination and not just as a means to an end to get to your commute downtown. Now, this is after all a train station, so I suppose we should probably look at where the trains actually come and go. The train shed was designed by A.R. Ketterson and built between 1929 and 1930. It is a variation of the Bush trains shed invented by Lincoln Bush. A reconstruction of the train shed began in January of 2010, and the east and west sides of this shed, which total approximately 30,000 square meters, were renovated and restored with input from Parks Canada to help preserve the heritage character of the actual shed. The central portion of the original train shed, totaling 30,000 square meters, was removed and replaced with a glass atrium. The structure floats above the tracks and allows daylight to reach the platforms. Although this renovation did remove a bit of the history of the train shed, it did modernize the station's train shed area quite extensively, and I think that as someone who frequently came and went from Union Station before and after that renovation, it did play a role in making the actual platforms where you wait for the train much more enjoyable, letting in a lot more natural light than the old historic platforms. And I think it's a good blend between respecting and keeping the history of that very historic train shed, while also modernizing it and allowing it to be a bit more of an enjoyable experience for the actual visitors to Union. There are 23 platforms at Union Station, and they are numbered from 3 to 27, but there are no platforms 1 and 2 or platforms 23 or 24. Now, there is currently a big addition to Union Station in progress, the South Concourse. I'm not sure when that's supposed to open, but I'll be interested to see if the numbers of the platforms change once that's completed. The final portion of the station is lesser known than the portions used for commuting to and from the city, but also plays a crucial role in connecting the station to tourist attractions like the CN Tower, Skydome, Ripley's Aquarium, and more. Within the west wing of Union Station is the Skywalk, which features the terminus station for the Union Pearson Express train, as well as a Good Life Fitness. The West Wing also features the headquarters of Metrolinx on the upper levels, which had literally zero information on what their interiors look like, so we had to largely guess for the office spaces within the station. I think that I've said this before, but in previous videos, so it's worth repeating again. I think that Union Station is by far the most important building in the city of Toronto. Without Union, hundreds of thousands of people would be forced to drive to get downtown, or they just would not be able to get downtown at all. Traffic's already bad enough as it is in the city, and adding the hundreds of thousands of people that normally take the train into cars would basically make it unpassable. This building helped establish Toronto as a city, and even though it doesn't tower over the city like the CN Tower does, I would argue that it was more important both currently today and in the foundation of Toronto as an established city within North America. Our version of Union Station is by far the most impressive achievement for our building team on the project. Not only is it the largest building by a far margin to be finished on our map, but it is also the most interactive building on the project. This building was started in mid-2022, taking over 2 years for our team to finish, but now that it is completed, it is definitely the most attractive piece on our map. Almost every member of the build team, and even a few that are no longer building on the team, helps play a role in getting this building finished. I do want to specifically shout out Von Frank and Mike, who did a lot of the interior work, as well as Newfoundland, who joined us for Union to help Mike finish the underground and office spaces in the station. Without their work, we would still be months from completion, and I really want to thank those three specifically for helping get this project over the finish line. As I mentioned earlier, our Union Station is by far the most interactive building on the project, at least so far. To demonstrate that, I'm going to transition over to my actual player instead of the sweeping visuals that you're used to seeing in this series, so that we can explore the map a little bit differently. Union Station serves as the spawn point of our map. When you join for the first time, you will be welcomed by a quest in front of you that provides you with a book explaining the project. If you're a returning viewer to the project, the Great Hall still has many things for you to do, including a quest. Make your way across to the area where you would normally purchase via tickets in the real station, and you'll find a quest that teleports you to the most recently completed building on our project. This quest is constantly being updated, so even if you join the project every day, once a week, once a month, or once a year, you can always go to this quest to be teleported to our most newly completed building to make sure you never miss something that's new. But the real magic of our Union Station lies deep within the concourses of this vast building. A few months ago, we set up the server so that players received in-game money for every 10 minutes they spent exploring the project. This seemed like a minor change at the time, but this was done as part of our large-scale plan to make Toronto more interactive for visitors and a server where visitors can play for hours and have a good time, even though they're not actually building. And although this money seemed useless at the time, through exploring Union Station, you can begin to see our plan coming to fruition. Every single shop at our Minecraft Building Toronto's Union Station has an NPC that you can interact with to buy items that you can use on our server. These items are accurate to the store that is there in the real world. So if you're at a food store, the NPC will sell food. Some of those food stores are even specific to that type of store. So for example, McDonald's would sell products that you would find in a McDonald's. If you're at a flower shop, the NPC there will sell flowers, and so on and so forth. I think you all get the idea. Although we plan on doing this throughout the map, this is the first building where players will be able to see this plan executed in its entirety. There are items in the stores that aren't only cosmetic items, there's also things that would help you get around the city quicker, or some armor trims and things like that will just make you look more tricked out while you explore the map. There's also a third player quest located between the TTC and train Union Station that you can complete as a visitor that will give you a couple of really good rewards as well. So be sure to join the server for yourself, come and explore Union in-game, because it's almost impossible for me to showcase all the little details of this massive, massive place in a video. Not only have we finished the station, but we've also added a majority of the trains that would pass through the station daily. Von Frank has made an excellent GO train locomotive and coach that you can see here in the train shed a couple of different times. And Mike has built the new VIA train that we just had roll out for VIA here in Canada, as well as an Amtrak train and the UP Express train. Quick interruption from editing game group Hope. The UP Express train was actually built by Newfoundland, not by Mike. The VIA and Amtrak trains are both at the station loading and unloading passengers, and the UP Express train is on its approach to the station just to the west of the actual station footprint. This was done because the Union Pearson Express station sits on an angle and we didn't want to have the train cut up into bits. This brings the total number of trains on the Minecraft Building Toronto project up to 5 different types if you include the Line 1 TTC subway cars that are traveling throughout our subway stations. The only remaining train to add that I can think of is the TTC streetcar, and I should have something exciting coming down the tracks, pun intended, in that regard in a few days. So now that we are finally finished Union Station, what comes next for the area? There are still many tunnels out of the station that remain to be built because the buildings that they are connected to are not yet completed. The closest to being finished are the tunnels across Bay Street to the bus terminals. The 2 bridges crossing the road are complete, as is the southern complex of CIBC Square. Von Frank is working to complete the entirety of this complex, and I imagine there'll be a video there in a couple of weeks. Interesting to note for that area is that there was previously a building there that has now been torn down, and we'll get into what is happening with that old building in a video in the coming days. At the west end of the station, we find the Skywalk, which connects visitors to the south side of the railway corridor. Mike in Newfoundland have been working hard to finish this section of the Skywalk, and while I started working on the roadway infrastructure in the area of the Metro Toronto Convention Centre where the Skywalk ends, that's a long way from completion. There are still several other tunnels that exit the station into Scotiabank Arena, which was formerly known as the Air Canada Centre. Those are all going to be finished as soon as the rink is built, which we don't have a timeline on, but I imagine will probably be before the Toronto Maple Leafs win a Stanley Cup. Although I'd happily be proved wrong in that regard this upcoming season. So with that, I think that's pretty much all there is to cover for Toronto's Union Station on our project. If you want to check out the subway counterpart located just to the north, that has been built for a while on our project, and there's a video that should be popping up now on the cards section that you can check out to look at a similar exploration of that part of Toronto's public transit hub. I hope that you all enjoyed the tour of Union Station. I'm having trouble explaining how exciting it is to our team that this massive structure is finally completed. It feels like a piece of the city that we've been working so hard to build over the last 7 years is finally finished, and all of us have put in a lot of effort to get it done, so it's quite exciting. If you're new to the series and want to see or learn more about other buildings that we have built on the Minecraft Building Toronto project, be sure to check out the series playlist that features all of the builds that had videos completed shortly after they were finished. If you're new to the channel and you enjoyed, be sure to hit that subscribe button, and you'll be able to catch future content on the channel. If you're a returning viewer and you enjoyed, be sure to hit that like button and share the channel with your friends so that you can continue to help us grow our awesome community. If you're looking for other ways to support the channel, I do have a merch page as well as a Patreon where you can support the channel financially. And of course, there is a donation page for the server as well, which helps me, but mostly helps Star keep the Building Toronto project hosted publicly so that you can all join it. So if you want to check out any of those places to support the channel, those are available in the description of the video as well. I'm going to end this video a little bit differently than I do others, with some longer cinematic shots of Union Station as the video ends. So there's going to be maybe a minute or two of just music and Union. I hope you guys enjoy that. And I just want to thank you all for continuing to support the channel and the project in general. Without you guys, I would not have kept going on this project, and we would have abandoned it a long time ago. So without your support, we wouldn't have been able to get to where we are today. Thank you all for watching. My name is GameFruit Pulp, and this has been a Minecraft Building Toronto video. Have a good one.